as a whole, let's see what are the things that we have got and what are the conclusions that we have seen in various studies while we were doing photoelectric effect study. So the first thing that we have learned that there existing something called threshold frequency, and this frequency of light would decide whether the electrons would come out from the metal surface or not. So if you don't give threshold frequency, then the electrons will not come out, right? So that is how the threshold frequency of the light would decide when they fall on the metal surface, whether they would eject the electrons or not. Now the number of electrons that is coming out, that is actually dependent on the intensity of the light. So intensity, if you change the intensity, you can see there is a variation of photoelectric current. It means the electrons that are coming out would the number would change, but still, even though intensity would make more electrons to come out, but still there is something called stopping potential. If you at a particular potential, there won't be any electron coming out even though the intensities are high. So this stopping potential is also called the potential where we would not get any photoelectrons coming out even though the intensity of the light is there, and the stopping potential is depending on the frequency again, right? So which is again related to the threshold frequency. So intensity does not make here any hold unless and until we have the threshold potential more than the threshold potential and more than threshold frequency, or more than the stopping potential, more than the threshold frequency. Even if your intensity is high, there are no electrons that would come out, and also the electrons therefore will not have the same kind of kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy is also depending on the stopping potential, and therefore this kinetic energy also depends on the frequency of the light falling. So here you see frequency of the light becomes very important factor to decide whether the photoelectric effect would happen or not for a particular metal. So the light that would fall, the frequency of that light would decide whether it will be able to successfully eject the photoelectrons or not. And finally, one very interesting thing, that this process doesn't take much time. This is an instantaneous process, means light falls and the electrons would just come out. So it doesn't take much time. And so these are the few conclusion and important observation that we see when we study photoelectric effect.
If you like the video, then press the like button, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.